Hey folks, Dennis Foster, Focus Outdoors Television and Dakota Pheasant Guide, which is my hunting operation here in Pheasant County, South Dakota. We do all of our pheasant hunting within basically a 20-mile radius of Redfield, South Dakota, which is the pheasant capital of the world. And I just happen to have with me here Casey Wisemantle, who's going to be helping us with some of the later season footage here. He runs Hunt Fish SD, of which I'm a member. Redfield's a member, some of the various communities and the other outfitters. And what we're doing is we're going to showcase some of our ground where we do guided hunts. But what we're trying to display is the fact that we do have birds. There's plenty of land. If you don't want an outfitter, there's other resources such as some of the public ground, the prep ground, so forth. Yeah. Casey and Hunt Fish SD is a big resource to get in touch with on that.
Yeah, absolutely. We always encourage people when they come out, maybe the first time, is to hook up, check up with a guide or an outfitter just to get the lay of the land and see how things operate. You know, if you're a little bit more seasoned hunter or want to do things on your own, there's a ton of public land available. Whether it's some of the state ground or the Aberdeen Pheasant Coalition, which you will find nowhere else other than our region here. That stuff is huge. That stuff is set aside for nesting acres, which obviously we know produces birds. And if you have cover, you have birds. And Aberdeen and Redfield and that James River corridor, that's some of the best bird hunting you're gonna find in the state. Bar none, really.
Yeah, obviously we're prejudiced, but yeah. That's a fact, that's a fact.
You know, and if you can get somebody out here to experience that first time and connect with a guide or an outfitter or check on some of that public land, they're gonna have just the time of their life. And the one thing I can't stress enough is please don't come out for the pheasant opener. I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way, but if you can wait just a little bit until the crops are out of the fields and the temps cool off a little bit, you will honestly have the run of the place to yourself. You will have this playground all to yourself.
You're going to actually end up running into many more birds.
Absolutely.
The conditions are going to be better for not only you and your dogs because some of the heat has dissipated. And yeah, that, you know, once again, we're not trying to deter anybody. No. We got more than enough people.
I say that jokingly.
Right. But you will find that you'll have a much more enjoyable hunt. And you touched on, you know, the different levels of hunter. This is a common scenario we see here. So we may get a call from a guy and say, you know, I've got this dog and I'm not really sure how good it is. We've had it on some pen raised birds at a game farm and I don't know if I'm really ready to venture out on my own yet. We'll have those folks hunt with us guided for maybe a year. They'll see how we do it in the real world, have their dogs run with our dogs, gain the confidence that they can do it on their own. Then they may branch into a self-guided operation or take their try at some of the public ground. Yeah. You'd mentioned the later season stuff. That's where a lot of the public ground does come into play, particularly very late season. If you're willing to do a little bit of work, a lot of this public ground is waterfowl production areas, which means water, which means cattails. Cattails mean heavy thermal cover for these birds. You're gonna find the birds in there. You're gonna have to do a little bit of work, but you're also gonna see the huge flushes, and this is not an exaggeration, in the hundreds of birds. Mm-hmm. So all you need is a few to hold tight, and even if you don't shoot that many, the fact that you're seeing that many birds to me is personally exciting.
Yep, absolutely. And utilize your resources. Utilize your connections with the guides, utilize your connections with the communities, and utilize the connection with huntfishsd.com. We're here to help, and our services are free of charge.
Yep, you know, and one thing I will guarantee is once you do find a community to settle into, you'll be back there year after year. Once again, I'm going to plug Redfield for obvious reasons. It is our county seat here, but you'll find the folks are so friendly. When you walk into the convenience store the next year, they're going to know your name. You know, you may walk into a local tavern and they're going to have a Miller Lite sitting in front of you because you remember that from last year. It's just the way it is, and that's the way we like it. We want the same folks coming all the time.
Yep, absolutely. Come check us out.
Yeah, so stick around. We're going to show you some footage ranging from a little bit of early season stuff. We're in later season now. You never know it by the fact that we don't have snow on the ground, but hopefully the birds are starting to bunch up a little bit. We're starting to get a little weather. Show you some of these big flushes and exactly what we do have.
Oh, good shit.
Get on him! Get him out of there! Alright, he's got the bird. There you go! Come extend his kick! Hold up, Megs.
Dead bird? Looks like Maggie.
Maggie, back here! Maggie! Right here! Right there! Get him up! Come on, guys, get him out of there. Come, Polar!
Maggie right here. Maggie right here. Right here.
We've got a point right here, guys.
Ken's Complete Sportsman, conveniently located right at Highway 12 in Aberdeen, South Dakota. Huge selection of beer in the cavernous cave. Live bait and lures of all kinds. Rods and reels, guns and shells. Hunting and fishing licenses. Hard to find premium zero ethanol fuel for your boat. Expansive liquor store. Grab grub ranging from snacks to suppers, including locally raised and processed Dakota beef. Stop in to gear up for your next outdoor adventure today.
Make your next day on the water even better with Airwave Pedestal, the only air suspension system that can be custom adjusted to the weight of the rider. No unreliable springs, no oil-filled shocks to leak. Our patented design utilizes a two-stage suspension system to smooth out the roughest ride, while limiting travel to an industry-leading 2 inches. This boating season, enjoy your time on the water to the fullest. Find out how at airwavepedestal.com.
Viking Gun and Pawn, located in Alexandria, Minnesota. We are a full-service gun shop offering Glock, Kimber, Smith & Wesson, along with many other name brands. We also specialize in jewelry and are now a newly licensed e-bike dealer for Rambo, Emojo, and Fender. Visit us in store or online at vikinggunandpawn.com to learn more.
Okay folks, we just finished a little walk here mid-December. We're kind of having a fun hunt. We're pretty much done with our season, so we just got some guys around. We want to capture some of the things that we do here in Spink County, South Dakota. One big tip, and this is probably the biggest mistake I see people make, is they spend all the time, effort, and money to come out and have a South Dakota upland hunt, and they bring cheap shells. There's several manufacturers out there that make premium shells. Do yourself a favor, spend 20, 25 bucks a box, and give you a little rundown of kind of how we graduate through the season. We'll start out with hot 2 3/4, such as these Fiocchi golden pheasants. Typically start with 5s. I've got a box of 4s in my hands. Do not shoot any 6s. I feel they're too light any time of the year, so get some of that commonly held myth right out of your head. For example, these are ounce and 3/8, spitting them out at 14.85. So they're fast shells. You don't need these big leads. Don't think about it. Put it on their nose, swing hard with them, swing through the bird. You should be all right. As the season wears on, we'll actually bump up to hot 3-inch shells, in this case still with the golden pheasants. And in that case, we're still shooting 4s here, but they're coming out at 1,200 feet per second, and it's an ounce and 3/4, which is a load, which we want to hit these birds, and I'll show you why in a second. We get into serious late season, the birds start to be a real pain, starting to get up a little bit earlier than we like. I'll actually go to the turkey loads. It's basically the same load, this ounce and 3/4 load of 4s, but it's a little bit snottier, and that's pushing those out at 1,325 feet per second. So we look at some of these mature birds. As we go through the year, you can see how much more heavily feathered they are. It takes something to punch through them. And one of the keys to that too, and I strongly believe in this, is either copper or nickel plated shot. It will penetrate through those feathers much better because it doesn't deform, have the jagged edges to catch the feathers. Another thing you'll also really appreciate is when you go to clean these birds, we rarely find a BB in the breast, and if there is one, as we clean it, it falls out, and they're almost always still perfectly cylindrical. There's some manufacturers out there that are mixing shots and so forth. That's more gimmicky than necessary. Something plated will punch through for you. But just a case in point, don't be cheap. Get some decent shells in your hands. Make every shot count, literally.
Rooster. I got him.
Nice shot. Yes. It was.
No, we got it. We got it.
Tucker or the other one? Bretta. Rooster.
Yeah. There you go. I think we shot it exactly. Come on. Come on, Sarah. First shot missed, whatever it was. Come on, Tucker. Come on. Cody, no. Cody, no. I couldn't get my gun off safety that way.
Try to cover these better. What we'll do is Tim and I will go right through the corn itself,
We'll have one guy, there's a bird settling in right there.
Right back in.
We'll have one guy each side, maybe walk just maybe 2 rows in, still shoot. And then we'll run a flanker ahead of us, slightly ahead of the dogs on the outside, and several rows out so you can still swing and shoot. Sure. And then we'll just kind of go through the whole field that way.
All right.
One thing to note too is if they get up, say 50 yards ahead of the flankers, let us know because we can't see anything in the corn. We'll stop and we'll let you get up ahead that far, because once they start that, they'll keep it up through the entire field. Okay. So if they start flaring up ahead, let us know. We'll stop. We'll let whoever's flanking get up ahead. All right, let's let some whining dogs out and do her.
Viking Gun and Pawn, located in Alexandria, Minnesota. We are a full-service gun shop offering Glock, Kimber, Smith & Wesson, along with many other name brands. We also specialize in jewelry and are now a newly licensed e-bike dealer for Rambo, Emojo, and Fender. Visit us in store or online at vikinggunandpawn.com to learn more.
Ken's Complete Sportsman, conveniently located right at Highway 12 in Aberdeen, South Dakota. Huge selection of beer in the cavernous cave. Live bait and lures of all kinds. Rods and reels, guns and shells. Hunting and fishing licenses. Hard to find premium zero ethanol fuel for your boat. Expansive liquor store. Grab grub ranging from snacks to suppers, including locally raised and processed Dakota beef. Stop in to gear up for your next outdoor adventure today.
Midwest Gun Dog Kennels is your full-time gun dog training facility. For over 30 years, we have customized our training to fit each individual gun dog. We know it takes a well-trained gun dog to handle wild birds. Make every hunting trip a dream trip. Let Midwest Gun Dog Kennels put excitement back into your hunt of a lifetime. Midwest Gun Dog Kennels, where experience equals excellence.
Prisoner!
Behind! All right, good.
I got that one.
That's for sure birds. And actually show you folks something here. This is probably a 2-year-old bird. You can see the spur isn't super sharp, but it's starting to get a point to it. Look at this guy. And what we're finding this year, a lot of these birds were early hatched too. This is probably a 2-year-old bird too. You can even see the curl on the spur. Obviously a bigger bird with longer tail.
That feels good when Cora's sitting in the puzzle. I got that one that people had. Yeah, I never even saw that one.
One thing to notice too, we're very fortunate. We're at the end of November here. Actually, I guess it's December. You can see they're already getting their heavy feathers on them. And that's something key there too, is you can see there's just layers of those feathers. And it's hard to punch through those. And it's key to have quality ammunition. I personally shoot Fiocchi golden pheasant stuff. It's nickel plated. Nickel or copper plated shot is really key. Couple reasons. One, it will hold the pattern better, because just pure lead shot will deform on the explosion of the shells that's coming out of the barrel, and they'll start to scatter because they're not perfectly round. The plated stuff stays perfectly round. Then also it penetrates much better because we don't have the jagged edges catching feathers, so forth, slowing it down going into the bird itself. And another thing we've really noticed the last several years is we rarely have a BB in the meat. Because when we clean these birds, the BBs are still perfectly round. They just fall right out. So if there's one thing you can do for yourself when you come out hunting these birds, spend $20 on a box of shells. You got a lot of expense coming out here to do this. Do not get cheap and cut yourself short. Not only that, quite frankly, I feel it's unethical, because you're going to be wounding these birds and they're going to fly off on you. You're not going to recover them. Even if they do go down, your dogs are going to have to run after them, because these birds are runners. They're going to be popping up birds ahead of you that nobody's going to get a shot at. So do yourself a favor, get some quality stuff. One thing I'd like to pass along, a little safety tip, what we do here. And in South Dakota, we're very fortunate. We got very liberal laws. We're a rural state, of course. We don't have case laws, so forth. So we do not case our guns. We don't even unload them all the way. What we do, especially with these autos, we get to the end of the field, just simply pull the action back, let it slide up. That shell, there's no way this gun is ever going to go off. You're never going to have an issue with it. It's perfectly safe to carry in your vehicle. You hop out, drop the shell back in, and you're ready to go.
Mister!
Flankers. We have guys kind of slightly ahead of where the dogs are. Slightly ahead? Yep. And then what that does, it helps keep these birds pinned in, and then if they do flare up ahead a little bit too far, then you guys will get shots. And don't be afraid to kind of look over your shoulder a little bit, because you know sometimes the birds will kind of come out slightly behind. So if they come out behind you, you have to wait till they're... Yeah, just spin around on them and wait till they, get out.
I can see you. There's 3.
Yeah.
Move up ahead of me a little bit if you're down like that. Dog. Okay. Perfect. Alright, easy. Over. There it is! Over! Get him out of here. Go bird! Point right in front of you. Keep up. Any dogs to watch. Too short. Come on, guys. Keep up. Don't come.
Another one.
Back. Get in here, dog. Back. Keep up. Keep up. Girl, back. We're going to work this one beside us. If you find a bare spot, something like we've been doing the same program.